Yes. They're pulled up.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education, June 12th, 2019. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is it inside here or is this the actual?
Let's hope not.
We are committed to academic achievement and success for all students in a safe environment. In partnership with families and our community, our mission is to promote confidence, inspire a passion for learning, and prepare our students to become responsible global citizens. Do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Lorraine and Anthony regret that they are held up at work, but will arrive a little later. And I just wanted to make one announcement. One of our own, one of our owns, Carl Onken, passed away this past week. Many of you may have known him, and/or his wife, Mary, who coached track for many, many years here. Carl was 21 years on our Board of Education, 29 on the Orange Ulster BOCES Board of Education, 12 on the New York State School Board Association, and with 2 of them as the president of NYSSBA. He was also one of the founders of the Girls Softball League and Soccer League in our community, Monroe Woodbury, a Peace Corps volunteer and an interesting guy, and we will miss him a lot. Questions and/or comments? Lorraine Loning.
This is good.
With a story.
For the story, yeah. Lorraine Loning, district resident. Tonight I want to speak about buses and specifically how folks are failing to yield to stopped buses. And this is an unsafe, a selfish, and an illegal act. And while I'm all about public shaming, because I've been seeing a lot of this on the Facebook, I think that there needs to be maybe different ways to approach this problem of people failing to yield for buses. I'm going to tell you a story. Here's the story, Mr. Hubreth. When I was a wee girl, I grew up in New York City, Queens specifically. When I was in elementary school, I walked to school. When I went to junior high school, I took a city bus to school. When I went to high school, I either took a city bus or a subway to school. I never rode a school bus in my life to school, ever. It's like a totally foreign concept to me. And I think that when a lot of people from New York City are moving to our area, for sure they are, there needs to be an education about this. Because when I moved up here 30 years ago, I got to tell you, there was like, oh my God, a bus, what do I do? Do I stop, do I go? It was a little panic. My husband's suburban, so he's like, chill out, Lorraine, this is what you do. So, I think I managed it okay, and it's all good. But if a school bus or anything is totally unfamiliar to you, it can lead to not knowing how to react to it. In a similar way, when suburban people come to the city and think it's pretty cool to make a right on red, also illegal, but they do that. So I would like to suggest that when folks register, maybe there could be a flyer or something so mom and dad know that these are the rules for the buses if you're not familiar with it. Because school buses are not that common in New York City. They just aren't. I know I used to work in an elementary school, and whenever a new student would come in, the bus monitors, one of the first questions they asked was, did these students ride a bus? Did they come from an environment where buses were common? And if they didn't, they would spend a lot of, some time with the students explaining how to behave on a bus. So perhaps we could do an approach like that with parents of how to respond around the bus, Just my 2 cents, because I've been seeing a lot of that on the social media. And we need to remedy this, but sometimes there's different ways to skin the cat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
John, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I don't disagree with what she's saying, but the only problem is that I think it's not the people that have the students registering. Like, if you're a parent and you're registering your child for school, I think you'd be more apt to stop for the bus. I think it's the people that don't have kids, or the people, or their kids are older now and they just don't care anymore. So there's got to be a way to put something out to the district that don't have students, because I think if you register your kid for school, you're pretty aware of the bus situation.
Right, an effort should go out to everybody.
So it's not a bad concept, but you really probably have to get the people that don't have children in the district that move up here. Not.
Well, can I just add to that?
Yes.
I think a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, we had Chief Melchiori, who decided that he was going to ride the buses, because here's the thing, if the bus driver sees someone who doesn't obey the rules, there's not much they can do. They can even videotape it, but there still isn't much they can do. So there was a time there where we had police officers riding the buses with our students because they could take action. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't learn something until they get caught and they get a ticket. So I think that's going to be part of the conversations that we're going to have with our safety officers or our local police, here in Woodbury and in Monroe, to see if that they're willing to do that. Because spot checking and having police officers on the bus, it makes a big difference when they get pulled over and there's a police officer on our bus. So we're going to look into that as well.
I would also say, as much as you want to put it on social media, probably not a great idea. You don't know who else is out there. People are crazy. If somebody is doing that, contact the police in your jurisdiction. Let them handle it. Know where it's happening. Ask them to step up patrols, rather than expose yourself on social media where who knows who you're going to run into.
No shaming page, pictures, license plates?
I don't trust anybody not to come to my house afterwards, so.
Quick story back to you. A lot of school districts in the United States get rid of their buses, and I noticed in a trip years ago to Nicaragua that the city buses and the buses in Nicaragua are old U.S. school buses. They haven't disconnected the red flashing lights. So when they stop for passengers, the side thing comes out, the red lights go on. I pull to a stop and everybody's honking at me because you're not supposed to stop. So I still did. Shannon Chambers.
Book group?
Good evening. I'm Shannon Chambers. I am the PTA Council President. I'll let the other two introduce themselves.
Aliza Reynolds, PTA Council Secretary.
Deborah Megan, Council Treasurer.
And we just come before you tonight really to say thank you. And thank you to Mr. Cassidy at the high school for honoring the PTA with a new policy that if you're a current board member with a graduating senior, that you can partake in the graduation by giving your child their diploma. We discussed that at PTA Council, and the PTAs wanted to come and just to give a public thank you for this honor, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate the fact that, in reverse, that you are honoring us for our gift of time, and we appreciate that greatly. So thank you, Mr. Cassidy. Thank you.
You can hear me, but I think that that's an example of what I call partnership between our schools and our parents and our PTA. So I applaud that, Mr. Cassidy, for doing that. I think sometimes a little bit goes a long way, and I think that's one of those examples. So I'm excited to see that happened, and that I look forward to having whoever it is, get up on stage and give their child a diploma. It's a big deal. Thank you.
Update on questions or comments previously from citizens? Do you have any of those?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't really have anything that we've not discussed. I think everything that's been has been brought to our attention, we've addressed it,
Okay.
both publicly and I think privately as well. I'm looking at Eric. Yes.
Okay. Take your word for it. Motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th special meeting, the May 21st annual budget vote election meeting, and the June 5th special meeting.
Motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to approve the guidance plan?
Motion.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Motion to approve the textbooks in our agenda.
Motion.
Second?
That moved and seconded. Any questions about the textbooks? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Motion for the canvass of the vote and adoption of resolution declaring the results of the annual election held on May 21, 2019. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Not that. Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. First reading of the policy manual update. Chris, you want to?
Yes, I'm trying to go back. Yeah, how do you go back? So we have a bunch of policies. There we go. We have a wellness policy we just updated. It's mostly about nutrition and what the school, the lunchroom, and what is supposed to be allowed in the school to eat. The next one is a procedures for approval of change orders. We just clarified that in our books so that with this field project going on and projects going on around the district, if there needs a change order that needs to be done, Elsie can make that change order if it is up to and not above a certain amount, limiting where we wouldn't have to meet to convene to make a change order, which might slow down all the projects.
But then I understand that after that change order is made, the board at the next meeting approves it also, correct?
Unless it's above a certain amount, then we would have to
Then we
convene.
approve it
but-
initially.
Right.
Correct.
The public use of facilities, we just went through the use of facilities. As of now, there's an application fee, there's fees that have been associated with the use of all our facilities, indoor and outdoor, for years. We just kind of fine-tuned it and narrowed it down to really identify what groups can use the facility for free, what groups don't have to pay for anything. Some groups need to have a certain amount of district residents that are involved in each group, and then there's like a fee structure that goes along with them. We kind of changed that. It was, I think it was 6 o'clock. From 6 to 10 is basically a school time closing. We've kind of extended it because we never really, we kind of charged from then on. We kind of made it from 8 o'clock on. If you're using the buildings from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock now, you have the usage fees for the security and custodial and everything that is there. What else is there? We have a parent and family engagement document, which is associated with Title I, where it just kind of lays out what the school district is responsible for the students and the parents, so they're aware of what they can get and what options there are, and how the school reports to them. And then there's another exhibition document that is kind of like a signature thing, where it's like a contract. You're really supposed to sign the students, the parents, teachers, to say that we're abiding by what we need to do for Title I, and they are going to do as parents, abide by what parents should do, and make sure that the school is doing what they need to get done for each student. So that's the first reading of all of these.
Did I ask for a motion yet?
Not yet.
Do we have a motion for
That's all
these?
too long?
Motion.
No,
Second.
no, my attention span is waning
You lose?
year by year. We have a motion and a second. Are there any more discussion or questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? So carried. Is there any reason why we need a second, we need to waive a second reading?
I believe a couple of these, the wellness policy and the procedures was, not the wellness policy and the facilities one, we might have had a, do we have a first reading earlier?
No, we didn't have
Oh, we
a
pulled
first-
it. We had a,
Right, we didn't have a first reading, but I think that the policy, the one about facilities use, in that document, it reads that at our July reorg meeting, we're going to come up with the amounts. And so we felt it was important to have that, policy
All right.
right, okay.
agreed
Okay.
upon, so that then come July, at our reorg meeting, we can then
Put it into place.
Yeah,
All right.
That's why.
So do I have a motion to waive the second reading of those policy manual updates?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is so carried. Presentation by the future Business Leaders of America members with Jackie Pucanis. We're not?
I think I got windburn.
Come on up.
Really, really. Probably sunscreen would have been good.
Look at that. The only trophy I ever got says participant.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're FBLA, and today we're going to showcase some of the things our club has achieved this year. First of all, we'd like to thank the board and the district for their continued support, as well as our advisor, Mrs. Pokanix. We've prepared a little skit to demonstrate what we've been doing this year. We're going to be running a mock meeting using parliamentary procedure, much like you guys have been doing.
So for those that don't know, parliamentary procedure is a body of rules, ethics, and customs governing meetings and other operations of clubs, organizations, legislative bodies, and other deliberative assemblies. This is actually a performance event we'll be competing in during the summer at the national level. So we'll begin.
We'll learn something.
The regular meeting of the Monroe Woodbury chapter of Future Business Leaders of America is called to order.
Madam President,
Mr. Nemitz.
I move that we have the new officers introduce themselves to the audience.
Second. It has been moved and seconded that the new officers introduce themselves to the audience. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and the new officers will introduce themselves. I'll begin. My name is Kate Yoon, and I'm the 2019-2020 FBLA co-president.
My name is Omar Jainal, and I'm also the co-president. My name is Kyle Nemitz, and I'm the executive vice president.
I'm Tiffany Yang, and I'm the co-president of the Program of Work.
My name is Charles Boone, and I'm also the co-vice president of the Program of Work.
I'm Derek Lee, and I'm vice president of Scrapbook. I'm Matt Edelstein, and I'm also the vice president of Scrapbook, along with Derek.
I'm Danny Wood. See me, I'm secretary. And I'm the treasurer.
I'm Alana Grant, and I'm reporter.
Thank you, everyone. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Liu?
I move that we briefly speak about our state leadership competition.
It's been moved and seconded that Mr. Liu will speak briefly about the state competition to our audience. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. So, Mr. Liu, you have the floor.
Could you come to the microphone so the millions on television later can see you?
Of course. Thank you very much. So our state leadership conference this April was a very eye-opening experience. We went to Binghamton from April 10th, 2019 to April 12th, 2019. We participated in a variety of events, including workshops, presentations, state officer elections, and competitions. So the workshops and presentations were presented by a variety of people, but mostly state officers and regional FBLA officers, including the Eastern Regional Vice President. We learned a variety of skills that would help us later in life and right now, including writing resumes and pitching products to consumers. We also participated in many competitions that related to the business world, such as economics, business calculations, public speaking, etc. We also had some social events, such as talent show and a dance. Overall, I felt that this experience was very informative, interesting, and overall was very fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Huang.
I move to introduce the winners of this year's SLC.
Second.
So it has been moved and seconded that Mr. Huang speak briefly about our SLC winners. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and Mr. Huang will now announce our SLC winners.
Thank you. To begin, we have our parliamentary procedure team of Kate, Charles, Caitlin, Kyle, and Omar, who have placed third. Daniel Liu had placed first in financial algebra and third in economics. Kyle had placed second in parliamentary procedure in the individual test and second in business calculations.
Thank you. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Lee.
I move to speak to the audience to recognize our state officers.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that Mr. Lee speak to recognize our state officers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it.
Recently, we said our farewells to Tori Lee and Anusha Dawson, our state officers from the past year. Tori was the state secretary and Anusha was the state parliamentarian. They passed on their positions to a new officer team, of which Kayla Mangual is a part of. She'll be serving as our state treasurer for the next year.
Thank you. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Liu.
I move to present the scrapbook for the board members.
Second. It has been moved and seconded that Mr. Liu speak to present our chapter scrapbook. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. So the ayes have it. Mr. Liu will now display our chapter scrapbook.
The scrapbook is a platform for which individual chapters throughout the state display their accomplishments in a competition for the title of Chapter of the Year. Now, this past April, we have won the 5th place in the Chapter of the Year event, passing our previous years of 8th place and the highest placing rank of Monroe Woodbury history within the past recent years. This is the scrapbook, and that is the trophy in which we have won.
Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Edelstein.
I move to announce our upcoming competition.
It has been moved and seconded that Mr. Edelstein discuss our upcoming competitions. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and Mr. Edelstein will discuss our trip at Nationals this summer.
Thank you. On June 27th, the winners who had placed for nationals at our state competition will be headed for San Antonio, Texas to compete for the best in the nation. This week-long event contains IFL, or Institute for Leaders. This workshop will prepare me for skills to develop and train me into a better leader.
Thank you. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Mr. Jayla?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second. It is moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and this meeting is now adjourned. Before we go, we just want to thank you for taking the time to allow FBLA to share our year's accomplishments. We look forward to sharing our achievements with you next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I must admit your adherence to Robert's Rules of Order is slightly more formal. I could take some cues about a lot of things.
The most important thing is to have someone really smart sitting next to you.
Right.
When you're
That's
reading
you.
those things.
Sorry.
To help me. You thought it was you?
Dawn pointed that out.
May we proceed? Do I have a motion to proceed and cease with the jocularity? Never mind. We have a STEAM update presentation by Eric Hassler, at least introduced by Dr. Hassler.
So a few weeks back, Mrs. Rodriguez asked me if we would be able to provide an update to the board and to the public on the incorporation of STEAM topics into our curriculum through our Gifted and Talented program that we've been working on over the past few years. Here this evening, we have Deb Garling, who is our Director of Gifted and Talented for the school district. We have to her right Nate Peterson, who is our elementary expand teacher. We have Renee Pierce, who is our middle school expand teacher. And we have Katie Opelt, who is another one of our elementary expand teachers. And they're going to provide the board with an update of some of the things that they've been working on in the curriculum.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Hassler.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Like Dr. Hassler said, my name is Deborah Garling, and I'm the Department Chair for the Gifted and Talented programs here in Monroe-Woodbury. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I usually don't have a problem with that. Thank you for inviting us here to share about our programs and how we have incorporated STEAM into all aspects of our teaching. The ultimate goal of our school district in educating its students has always been to identify the academic needs of each child in the system and provide appropriate learning opportunities. So in that vein, the Monroe-Woodbury Board of Education implemented a Gifted and Talented program 4 decades ago. Over the past 40 years, the program has evolved to meet the ever-changing needs of our students. We first began with just the Expand program, which was for students identified as working well above grade level. This past decade, we have branched out, and now we service the entire 2nd through 5th grade population by offering STEAM to all classrooms at Central Valley, North Main, and Pine Tree, as well as running many STEAM-based academic enrichments that further develop 21st century skills. Here's a glimpse at what our department is doing today. Take a look.
Take a look at the programs that the Gifted and Talented Department at Monroe-Woodbury offers. It's more than just Expand. You may not know that. Hopefully, you'll have a little better idea after this presentation. The program is made up of 3 components. The first is Expand. Those are our gifted students. The second component is STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And the final component is enrichment. Enrichment is where we work with regular education teachers. These 3 components work together to provide opportunities for all students in the school building, even those that are not classified as Expand. So what exactly makes up Expand? Well, our primary focus is on metacognition. That's where we teach our students to think about their thinking. We have a screening process that takes a multifaceted and holistic approach to analyzing data in order to identify our top learners. STEAM provides all students a chance to be engineers through science, technology, engineering, art, and math. STEAM units are taught to all students in grades 2 through 5. Units include things like 3-dimensional structures, aid drop packages, cars, and bridges. The students get an opportunity to be engineers. Through the opportunities they're given in the STEAM units, the children get to build, test, and refine their creations. Each unit is designed to complement the other and build progressively from 2nd through 5th. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. STEAM is provided to 100% of the students at Central Valley, Pine Tree, and North Main. That is everyone, and that's a lot of students. Another component of the Gifted and Talented Department are enrichments. Enrichments are opportunities for advancement for all learners. Enrichments are offered to all students. Teachers decide who and when to send them to enrichments. The units are designed to support classroom instruction and provide the students with an opportunity to advance their studies. As you've seen across this video, the Gifted and Talented Department at Monroe-Woodbury combines the three components of expand, STEAM, and enrichment to create unique and exciting learning opportunities for the students in our schools.
As the video illustrates, I think Nate should work for YouTube. I love your voice.
Nate? It's Nate. Trying to figure out whose voice that was.
What a great little video. That was wonderful.
He's gifted and talented.
Yes, gifted and talented video.
Well, it illustrates that there are three major branches to our programming, but we're going to spend the bulk of this evening's presentation focusing on our STEAM offerings. Looking back over the last 40 years, the EXPAND program itself has often based its curriculum on the principles of STEM. So we would like to start with a brief peek into what our gifted and talented kids here at Monroe-Woodbury are doing. The largest portion of the EXPAND curriculum is the independent inquiry. This STEAM-heavy, multi-month project is designed to help students work towards the goal of independent learning through research, analysis, problem identification, and solution development. Students advance from being merely consumers of information to being the products of new information, or producers rather. This engineering and technology-driven curriculum begins in grade 3 for most of our participants and spirals up through elementary and into grades 6, 7, and 8. Here to share more about the middle school G&T STEAM offerings is Mrs. Renee Pierce.
Good evening, everyone. The Middle School Gifted and Talented program consists of a variety of components that augment the curriculum toward a STEAM-like experience. In grade 6, our units have students working in research and development teams to interpret data, synthesize information, and problem solve collaboratively. Our futuristic unit has them gathering information and theorizing about what our future will hold, the problems that might arise, and the solutions they might have to develop. Another STEAM-heavy unit is our Create a World Jabberwocky unit. Here they create a fictional culture based on their knowledge of our current world, and students are charged with the task of innovating or inventing something for these fictional societies. This particular unit is exemplary because it, through collaboration and independent tasks, it covers all 5 STEAM components in the one unit. In 7th and 8th grade, we have a contraptioneering unit where students are given the opportunity to explore engineering and design through physics of simple and complex machines. This unit dovetails nicely with earlier learning experiences in the EXPAND program while taking engineering to a whole new level. Students create contraptions using the examples, references, and lessons they were introduced to in class. These multi-step machines have to be designed, built, tested, modified, and improved before submission. One of my favorites this year was a complex machine that used over 15 different steps to sprinkle sprinkles on a cupcake, which was extremely popular at EXPAND Night this year. I even recently ran into a few of my former students who are now in the high school, and they were telling me about a contraption they had to build in their physics class, and they were saying how they used a lot of the ideas they learned in middle school EXPAND up at the high school level in their physics course.
Love that, love that. That's a look at what we are doing with our EXPAND students specifically. However, 5 years ago, we were tasked with the exciting mission of designing a STEAM program for the entire elementary level population. So let's talk about STEAM for All. Basing our units on national standards in the areas of math and science, we began developing curriculum for grades 2 and 4. As each class of students moved through our workshops, the excitement of such hands-on learning grew, and so the next year we expanded our reach to include units for grades 3 and 5, so that the entire elementary school population was enjoying interactive learning in a collaborative setting. Simultaneously, teachers began approaching us, asking for more STEAM activities that they could incorporate into their classrooms. The past 2 years saw us further expand our development by creating additional learning labs to enrich classrooms' curricular needs, as well as designing packaged lessons for teachers to facilitate. I know the video mentioned this, but I'd like to introduce Nate to talk a little bit more about the STEAM curriculum that the elementary teachers are teaching at each building.
Thanks, Deb. As you can see in the graph, there's been a projected increase in STEAM jobs from a while back, and that's set to continue right now, actually beyond the 2020 mark that you're currently seeing on the screen. In an effort to promote academic and career readiness in our students, the curriculum that we've designed attempts to meet the needs of the 21st century learner. At each of the grade levels 2 through 5, we implement a STEAM unit that takes place in our STEAM lab. Each unit is centered on a real-life challenge that is designed to anchor the lab experience and provide a practical basis for the engineering and the problem-solving that we ask the students to do. For example, here at the second grade STEAM unit, we ask the students to act as architects to design a building for their community. We explore shapes that most effectively support structures, and the students collaborate in research and development teams in order to create structures that are tall and stable. At third grade, our students work on the classic egg drop activity, where they protect an egg as it's dropped from the ceiling to the floor. However, the activity in our class is framed with the scenario that the students are collecting data through experiments in order to design, build, and test an aid drop package. The real-world application of this would be in times of humanitarian crisis, such as like tornadoes or hurricanes, when it may be necessary for supplies to be airdropped to people in need. Our fourth grade unit studies cars and the physics behind their motion. The students design, build, and test cars to explore how they work and the safety features of a vehicle that help keep the occupants safe. And similar to Renee's story that she told earlier, a few months ago, there was a group of high school students that were walking through Pine Tree, and they noticed my force equals mass times acceleration formula that was on the board. They stopped and asked me who I was teaching that to, and when I told them that it was for fourth graders, they remarked that they had just learned that in their high school physics class, and actually called in some of their friends to see it and show them what we were learning in fourth grade. It was pretty cool. The fifth grade unit explores bridges and the compressive and tensile forces that are at work on them. The students are tasked with designing a bridge. They're given the scenario of being engineers who are asked to cross a river while minimizing the environmental impact of such a structure. The students then explore how much weight their bridge can hold and compare their findings with others in the group. And here to discuss the enrichment opportunities provided to our students is Katie Opelt from North Main.
Hi, thanks for having us. An enrichment is any course designed for either small group or whole class or any topic or skill. So they feed the need for challenges in any area of interest or curriculum. All enrichments, just as in the STEAM labs, they're anchored to this engineering design process you see here. Students become familiar with this process, and then they have it serve as their guide through their brainstorming, their planning, their testing, their improving all of their designs and their solutions. They get very well versed with this throughout the years. We offer STEAM-based enrichments that include class collaborations, sometimes a video conference activity with another class in the district as seen in the next picture. And or we have guest speakers that visit and share their expertise with our students in areas that pertain to our curriculum. So very exciting stuff. Some of these STEAM-based enrichments bring us outdoors where students explore and interact with nature to apply curricular knowledge such as migration, pollination, photosynthesis, mathematics, and more. And we collaborate with teachers to design whole class enrichments that support their curriculum. So here you can see students participating in a design challenge for a history lesson using Legos for construction. Also pictured is a culminating activity where math and science concepts were integrated using catapults and then slingshots.
No one got hurt, right?
No, one got hurt? Just marshmallows, and we did aim at the security guards. We will aim at you. We offer all sorts of problem-solving small group activities that promote logical reasoning, teamwork, and the engineering design process. Students are so excited to be given an open-ended problem and grapple with those challenges together. And true to the engineering design process, they always end up feeling successful with the improvements made and then just the fun that they've had. One of my favorite quotes is creativity solves problems, and all of our enrichments promote a creative process, but there are actually a few of our courses that we've created and that we offer where the main focus is just developing creative expression, and students gain confidence and become creative risk takers. We utilize a multitude of robotics kits to apply to our research and design-based enrichment courses, and it's more than the programming aspect. Students are designing and creating based on research and then research and design, and then they program. So some of the robotics kits we're actually currently using are Lego WeDo. We have Little Bits, which introduce circuitry to design elements, and Sphero, a programmable sphere used to teach the basics of coding with design. So that just highlights just some of the favorite enrichment offerings that we have, but we're always dreaming up more. So thank you for listening. And now back to you, Deb.
That has been a snapshot of what we're currently doing. So where are we going from here? Well, we're hard at work developing the next steps for the further STEAMification of students. We plan to continue to optimize student learning spaces by syncing instructional practices and technological tools with physical spaces that best support learning. We envision a design lab model with movable workstations of varying sizes and heights. There would be space to actively engage, collaborate, reset, kind of like the way Google Workshop works at their corporate location. We want to continue to vary our instructional techniques to incorporate station teaching and more problem-based learning. Basically, we're working to create the freedom and space necessary to discover, imagine, and innovate through the engineering process. We're also in discussions with building administration and staff on incorporating these design lab activities directly into the grade-level science and social studies curriculums. As we move into our 5th decade, our department's aim will continue to be the identification and successful nurturing of capabilities in all our young inventors, scientists, and engineers. I see a few of them over there. Thank you all for inviting us here this evening. We invite you to visit any of our STEAM classrooms to see the magic in action. And in closing, we'd like to have the true experts explain what they're experiencing here in Monroe-Woodbury.
Expand is a group of minds that are creative and hardworking. Expand is my happy place, and it's where I can express my feelings. Basically, in Expand, you can even like do metacognition.
Unprompted, these kids.
Metacognition.
Expand, I thought that Expand was just to make my brain work better, because before I got into Expand, I didn't think about tests. So I was like, oh, here's the answer, and I go on to the next question and I get that question wrong. But Expand did for me was to not think about the question.
It expanded my logic knowledge and the knowledge that I use every day, like math, science, spelling.
Expand has impacted me in many ways. It has made me a better researcher, a more effective and better public speaker, and a more independent person who can take her stance on something and argue for it. I love Expand so much because it expands my mind to the hardest problems and really expands creativity. It's so fun because I love Jabberwocky, I love advanced studies in elementary school, and it really helped me expand my mind and think outside.
My favorite part of it so far has been the Jabberwocky project, because how you really do a lot of independent work and also with groups. And my favorite part in general about the Expand program is how it makes you think creatively.
So independent inquiry is just expanding knowledge of one topic. So I choose natural disaster for my topic. I really knew nothing about that. All I knew was about tornadoes and that they're really powerful.
And my favorite artifact from Expand, the book I wrote about black holes in elementary school. I remember I was fascinated by black holes in general, but then in particular that nobody really knew what would happen if you traveled to a black hole. So I wrote this adventure book where I remember drawing an image of a very stretched person and introducing the term spaghettification, which is a real term, and describes what might happen if you travel to a black hole. And Artifact 2 lives on in our house in Monroe, and very proud of it. I appreciate being given the space to work on projects like that.
So that problem is that the leachate in landfill seeps through the liner in the landfill, which is supposed to log it, but when it seeps through, which is a highly toxic gas, liquid, and it'll seep into our groundwater eventually, and it could poison many people. So first I had debris as my topic, and then I narrowed it down to memory loss. And I really like my topic because the main mystery of oceanography is the
so that we could create an underwater base on the border of the Mariana Trench, monitoring its movement for a very long time. And then scientists can go down there and then go in the submersible so that way it would take a long. It would be really convenient for them, and our research would just. Well, I want to be a cellist, playing the cello for my career. But if I had a second job, I would kind of.
What do you guys want to be when you grow up?
I think a biologist, a neurobiologist, or a biologist that studies
I want to be
the heart, muscles. If you want to be a storm chaser, you can be humanity's first person to land in the eye of a storm. And the reality can be big.
Hi, my name is Ben Centra, and I participated in Expand from 4th grade to 12th grade. The project row was my favorite part. There were a chance to learn new skills and express myself creatively. I started small in elementary school, writing my own comic books. And throughout high school, I made claymation videos, improving my animation technique year after year. Expand projects taught me to approach a new problem with creativity, pick up new skills on my own, and always do my best work. That kind of mindset has served me well throughout my life. From my job as a software engineer, designing complex yet intuitive web applications, to my hobbies such as songwriting, writing and recording original music. Expand was a highlight of my Mount Woodbury experience. Congratulations on 40 years, and here's to many more.
That was great.
Thank you very much for having us here today.
Thanks a lot.
Did you recognize the young lady?
Yes. When did you catch that?
No, I'll never tell. We reached out to some of the alum and asked them to send some videos in or ideas of their best memories of Expand, and I was so excited to hear back from Madeline. If you don't know, that's Madeline Huberth, John's daughter.
Yeah. Thank God for recessive genes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Can I just say one thing? When Deb mentioned that it was a challenge, the challenge was you're to now have all the elementary students exposed to Expand and all of the activities, but you're not going to get any additional hires. Remember that? And they really rose to the challenge. So thank you. And it's on behalf of all the students. We really appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you.
It's fun. We get to work with those kids every day.
We are tough.
Well, the staff you did give me is amazing. So thank you for that.
That's all.
Well, what's interesting to me, I wrote things down. Hands-on, collaboration, problem solving, outside of classrooms, imagination, critical thinking, and then I wrote down state requirements. Because the stuff that we do not only here, but everywhere that goes beyond state requirements and testing and all of that stuff really can spark the imagination, the creativity, and the future of our children. I think that's so darn important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
And yes,
You want to take a 2-minute break so that they're leaving?
no, I told the FBLA people they could sneak out if they had something better to do.
Thank you.
If they wanted to go learn about.
They do. They have.
Yeah, they have things to do, unlike us. Data dashboard. Discussion by Bargoff, Assistant Superintendent for Compliance and Information Systems, basically about where we're heading in our strategic plans. Bargoff?
So can I just say a couple of words before Bargoff begins, is that one of the things that the board has charged us with is the implementation of a strategic plan, but also more importantly is about the use of data. So I think Bhargav's going to speak a little bit about where we are with our data dashboard.
Thank you, Elsie. So in any school district, the biggest challenge for all of us is duplicate data entry, data scattered along the multiple systems, and lack of customized reports, and how you pull this data in a one platform and then make it presentable. So the attempt as a part of the strategic plan is what we have done so far this year. We partnered with one of the vendor who is actually an expert and coming alone vendor working with the other school district, but we are actually one of the first one to see that data according to what we want to see. So what we end up doing is we partner with this vendor, and the vendor actually developed a dashboard for us. And the way it works is right now we have a PowerSchool as our student management system. This dashboard works on top of the PowerSchool. It takes the data, it takes a live data, and then basically allow us to see the data in a live format and then make a decision based on the data. So as a first year, as a pilot, we end up pulling our attendance data. And working with the vendors, we pulled 5 years of attendance data, and we were able to see some interesting trends. As a pilot, it's still work in progress. Next year, our goal actually is to pull the discipline data and then see, are there any trends? Or is there a specific building that has some high number of whether it's the attendance issue or the data in terms of the discipline issue? This would allow us to see the data a little bit differently than how data comes out from our PowerSchool or from a testing system. The other advantage of that, at some point we will be adding, I would say within another 6 to 8 months, working with the vendor, we will be adding a color coding system on top layer of the data, so it's easy for board or any third-party person with the basic access to see that. If we compare the attendance of this year versus last year or 2 years, if the dashboard is green, that means we are in compliance with the data of attendance year to year. If the dashboard is yellow, that means we need to wait or just take a look of see what's happening with our attendance. If the dashboard is red, that means we need to worry about what's happening in attendance. So typically in our school districts, it's usually after the fact we pay the attention to the data. This will allow us to see the data, what's happening in a live environment, and allow us with the easy configuration for comparing the data of last 3 to 5 years. Next year, our goal is to pull the discipline data. So it's still work in progress. We are developing the system as we go and we learn as the vendor is working with us. But this will give us a much easier access in next couple of years to see how really the dashboard looks like. At some point, we are working actually with financial system to see if can we pull the financial data a little bit in and compare that for student data. So it sounds like a bigger project, but it's work in progress. And what we are hoping to do, one piece of data at a time, so then we can master that attendance, discipline, adding some financial data into it, and then see a whole picture as a dashboard. So we'll keep you posted.
How does this integrate into the strategic part of setting our goals?
So one of the outcome of strategic plan was we collect, as a school district, we collect a lot of data. We collect, I would say, almost all kind of data, but we don't do overall a good job of interpreting this data and then make it a user-friendly data. If I'm a high school principal or a middle school principal, what is my absence rate? And what does it look like from last year to this year or last 5 years? Is there a trend? Same thing with the discipline. Is there a trend? So this will help us basically, as a strategic plan, there are a variety of task forces. This piece would inform all the different task forces on a different level. Like one of the task forces is the social emotional learning. Is that connected with the discipline data? So more helping as an add-on tool, working with the different task forces.
All right. Do you want to say something, Donovan?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the progress that we're making on it. And I think the overall goal of the board was we wanted some advance warning so that if we saw something trending in either a good or a bad way, we could react proactively and say, why is it getting better? Let's try to learn from that and see if we can't replicate the positive in other places. And the same thing is what I think historically the fear that all boards have, but I think this board's really good. This board right now is extremely good at addressing these issues in real time. And I think the knowledge that this board has, translating over with the administration and putting it into a more replicatable model which is what we're doing, I think is going to pay off. But it's really just to give us enough time that if we see something going, in the wrong direction or in the right direction, we have time to fix it. And that was really the overall goal is, and I know we've heard this from parents as well. I know that the teachers are doing a great job of keeping up. They're doing a better job of keeping up with keeping grades, entering them quicker into the system so that, we all deal with this same issue in different forms, is give me enough time so that if there is a problem, I can react to it and fix it, as opposed to I find out 2 weeks before the end of the school year that we need to address a financial issue or that my child's grade in X or Y is not where it could have been. And that's really the goal. And I'm really pleased with the process that's being used. It's not fly by night. It's very thought out. It's very data oriented so that the people that are involved in it aren't being unnecessarily drawn in any one direction. It's like, let's learn, let's figure it out, let's take a very careful approach to it.
This allowed us to think a little bit deeper on inside the technology department that what kind of the format that the different data sits. So it helped us to think it through because now we are working with a common platform. It's called Data Cartridge. So we work with a different vendor and our first question we ask, what is your common data platform? And if you don't have it, we don't want to do a business with you because it takes a lot of resources from district side to make that data in a format that works with a different system. So this helped us actually in that direction. The challenge that we typically have is there is no one product exists out there that we can replicate right away. So it's kind of, we are building this product working with a partner. So it takes a little time, but it's moving in the right direction.
And I think the board understands too that one of our biggest challenges in moving forward with this is the data changes. So the evaluation that the state gave us last year for testing could be very different than the year before or the year before that. So it's going to take some time, but it's very difficult to say how are we doing year to year from the grades standpoint because the model that the state keeps, it's kind of a moving target. So that'll be interesting as well, and I think the work that Bargoff and the team are doing are going to help us at least, take baby steps to improve things that the analytics say, yeah, this is a problem.
Well, you've always said right from the beginning that goals have to be measurable.
Yeah.
And this is going to help that, and the goals will be created. It doesn't make any sense to have a goal that can't be measured.
Right, or met. Right.
So, let's have all of our students really do well. What the heck does that mean? Right? It's a nice, it's a nice little slogan, but is it helping advance the education and the value we're giving our students?
Well, and to Mr. Buehler's point, one of the when you had talked about the way that the district and the schools are being measured, something new this year is a new form of accountability that our schools and our districts are being held to on attendance and absenteeism. And prior to this point, the only tool that we had for tracking student attendance was in PowerSchool when the teacher goes in and says whether or not a student is present. And all of that data, it has been there historically, but we haven't had a tool to be able to sift through that data and understand, to your point, some of the trends that are happening. And the work that they're doing now gives us the capability to be able to do just that. So when this new system of accountability is being fully locked in, we have a format to be able to, and a framework that we can go into to look at that data, rather than just looking at how many kids were present and how many kids were absent, but sifting through it and looking for common elements between certain kids that are present or absent or chronic absenteeism. And that's the benefit of this tool, specifically with, first getting our hands wet on the attendance piece, because that is something that is going to be a requirement for us as a school district. So,
yeah, and the goal, our goal from a board's perspective is that the system's design, and I know it's working this way, is that the individuals responsible for achieving the goals will have plenty of time to correct or take corrective action before the board sees it. So the idea isn't, this isn't a stick, it's, we're hoping that we can give people tools that help them manage their day-to-day so that they solve the problems, we don't see them if they're solvable, and then when it gets up to us, it's, it's all good and we can focus on the right things.
Great. Any other comments on that? Thank you. Your computer is scheduled to shut down automatically. Mine just did. Well, all right, thank you. And speaking about data, Eric Hassler, maybe a month ago, sent all of us the information on the high school curriculum results as far as testing, and I wondered if you wanted to just briefly tell us about that, and then if we had any questions.
Sure. Just a little bit of background. My office usually compiles 2 presentations to the Board of Ed on an annual basis. The one that we do in the fall is for our 3 through 8 ELA and math assessment, and then we do a second presentation in February that I do alongside with the high school on the accountability report and assessment results of the high school. Graduation, the areas that the high school is measured for accountability purposes, which is graduation rate, participation, and performance in the various Regents exams. This February, we, due to the scheduling of the Board of Ed meetings and budget presentations and things like that, it was decided that we were going to just send it to the board in the form of a report, give everybody the opportunity to review it. You received that document, and certainly you're welcome to ask any questions, anything that you noticed. For us, there were a number of different things that jumped out. Some new things that were in the presentation this year. We administered for the first time the Transitional Regents exam. The Global Regents is soon to be gone, and the state is transitioning to a new social studies framework. So this past June 2018, we administered the transitional exam, moving away from the Global Regents to the new World History Regents exam. So you saw, rather than having that exam compared to past global exams, since it was the first exam administered for the first time in Monterey-Woodbury, it can't be compared to the Regents exam, so that stood all by itself. We noticed a couple of other items. We had over the last couple of years a shift from offering earth science at the middle level to offering biology. So there was a shifting in the Regents results because the results that are presented here are only the results of the high school. So the results of our 8th graders who took the biology Regents, for example, is not incorporated into that. However, for the first time, we saw an increase in the number of kids taking the earth science Regents exam because that's no longer being offered at the middle school. So there were just a number of different things that kind of influenced this year's results.
Are there any questions or comments? I have one.
Sure.
Speaking about what we were just talking about in how we process data and how it's useful, because we can compare apples to apples year to year, and therefore it makes sense. The data will make sense. Are we getting useful data from these state tests, or are the changes in these tests so disruptive to the data that it's not helpful in helping build our curriculum and make it better?
This applies to all of the various state assessments that we administer. Certainly, when there's a shift in standards, the ability to compare one test to a previous test diminishes because you aren't comparing apples to apples. What we hope is, that similar to some of the Regents exams that still exist the way that they have existed in the past, you really have the ability to sort of understand the trends that take place. For example, one of the things that I speak about every year when I do this presentation is physics. Our physics results are fairly low in comparison to a lot of the neighboring school districts in our area and comparable school districts to our size and performance. However, the reason why our physics exams are lower is because when you look at not only our results but also our participation, we have a lot more kids that take the physics exam than traditional high schools do. Because one of the things that we noticed was we had a number of different science electives that were being offered, but when a student takes an elective that's purely offered for elective credit in the high school, compared to taking either a college level course or even a Regents level course, it looks more favorable on a college application when a student takes, rather than just taking, a meteorology class that you can take as an elective. For a student to take physics and take the Regents exam and pass the Regents exam, it looks more favorably on a college application. We had 244 students take the physics Regents last year. That is significantly higher than any other high school in our area. Granted, some of our students had some challenge with that. However, it still looks better on a college application than if they were just to take a standard elective in meteorology. We look at those results on an annual basis because the physics exam has remained consistent. Once they start making moves, we hope that once a move is in place, for example, when they make the move to the new World History Regents exam, that exam stays in place for a while. By not making any changes, it gives us the opportunity to dig into things like curriculum. Are there certain topics that are being offered on the exam that maybe consistently our kids get correct or incorrect, and we need to make adjustments in the curriculum? You can only do that when the exam remains the same for a number of years. So yes, there are changes, but hopefully once the changes sort of fall into place, they slow down a little bit.
Any other?
I think long-term in that area, once we understand how the tests change, because if you take, on a simple level, if you take any subject and you say we're teaching 10 concepts this year, the test may emphasize 2 of those concepts more this year than they did last year. So once we start to understand how our teaching, our elements line up with those tests, using some of the data, we might be able to do a better job of mapping and understanding, where our weaknesses ahead of taking a state test, so that our confidence level is a little higher. But again, that's a ways off.
Sure. I mean, even something as simple as preparing kids. I mean, I remember when I was in high school taking Regents exams. You had the Barron's Regents exam book where you took practice Regents exams so that way you could familiarize yourself with the type of questions that were going to be asked and the topics that were going to be on the Regents exam. When an exam is being administered for the first time, you don't entirely know what that exam is going to look like exactly, and it presents certain challenges in preparing for it. The more consistently the exam gets administered, the more solid we become in preparing for that exam.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
No problem.
Live streaming of the middle school moving up ceremony. You want to mention that? You want me to?
I think there was a question asked by one of the board members, I think it was Mr. Ezrati, who was wondering why don't we utilize what we utilize at the high school, which is live streaming the ceremony, because there are people who cannot attend the moving up ceremony. And we thought that should be a discussion for the board to talk about it, what your thoughts are. And if you are in agreement, then we would move forward to live stream the middle school moving up ceremony this year.
There's a financial component.
Meaning like live stream, so we could be home and watch it, or be at
Yes,
the
so
high school?
you could be home. You could be home watching it.
I think it's a great idea because everyone has been to a graduation. It's kind of like a swim meet and a lot of other sporting events. You sit around all day waiting for your son or daughter to spend their 3 minutes competing, but you're there for 4 or 5 hours. So that's fine for the parents, but then you have the grandparents that you're going to have a party at home afterwards to celebrate it. They could be just as happy watching it and probably get a better view watching it at home, so they don't have to. And obviously, we have other issues with parking and all the other things.
Originally, I was approached, and the person, has an 8th grader who's being promoted this year, and she has a very large family. And with the middle school, we utilize the high school gym. It's 3 tickets a person.
Yep.
So, for some families, it's You can't bring your whole immediate family. So,
And they don't want to come, too.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
Maybe yours doesn't.
Mine never did, but
So
that's okay.
it was a logical step. If we're doing it for the high school, whether it's indoor or outdoor based on weather, why can't we replicate the same system for the middle school and open it up to a wider audience of family members? So whether they're local and are going to watch from their home, or whether they're across the country, your grandparents in Florida, they can still be part of it. And I think it's really, even for the 2-3 minutes, it's what people want to see.
Question I have is, do we have any security issue, or these are 8th graders? If I don't want my kid on the TV, is that a problem that someone is actually watching my kid walk across the stage? I don't know if that's a problem for the masses, but, I mean, there are some people in this district that don't want their kid's picture anywhere, don't want their kid seen. How are you going to know who's logged in and who's not logged in to?
It's not per case basis. So typically what we have done with the high school, it's all or none. And I don't believe that current 8th graders, we have any of the student who is not allowed to take a picture. But
I'm just
typically
bringing it up to
we
someone
send
like-
it out to the parents that this is going to happen, and if you don't want your child, you need to let us know, but ahead of the time. But it's not like we can turn off the system and then turn back on.
No, I understand. That's why I'm asking.
That's a
You
good
don't want to
point.
have somebody later on come in and say.
Do you need credentials to watch it?
Well, that's what I mean. When you log in, can anybody log in? Is it going to
No, but
just be?
I see Amanda in the background over there trying to make eye contact with me, which she's doing a good job. And we may have students, so I think that we need to reach out to those families as well. However, that doesn't mean that somebody else in the audience isn't videotaping the graduation anyway.
Same thing.
So,
That's correct, but we're streaming it. I just
Correct.
don't want,
It's an
if
official-
I'm live streaming it on my YouTube channel, it's my problem. But if the district is doing it, I just.
No, I think it's a very, very valid point, and I think so. We're going to go in the back and kind of the background here and check out who are those people and figure out what we can do.
If you if we send out a form letter that says this is going to be happening, if you have a problem, please respond. If nobody responds, then we kind of covered ourselves as to say, well, we asked
Yeah.
everyone, no one responded, so we just streamed it live.
Well, we can figure out how we can
You could have a
cover
login for
ourselves on
The
it.
other thing is everything there? Like, do we need any new equipment, or is it like basically?
No.
It's just a manpower.
We've got, there's a cost associated with it also. So that's another reason that it was brought up to
What is
our
the cost?
attention.
What does it cost?
It's $2,200.
$2,200.
Per year?
So
It's per year.
Per year.
if the legal questions, and I understand, I mean, when you were on the witness protection program, you had problems
Still is.
That's why I don't
about
like this
that.
camera looking at me.
That's why you raised the
How
question.
many times am I going to tell them not to put it on me?
Right.
And she just did.
Now I have to change locations again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So are we don't need to vote, it seems like we're pretty much in consensus on that.
With the
If we make sure, with that one caveat,
We'll do that.
okay? Very good. Reports from Board of Education committees. Chris, you sort of reported, you can fill
The
us
only
in.
thing is that coming forward, we did say we were going to look into the fee structure. We're doing like a big dive into all the districts around this area and all the districts that let their community use the buildings and facilities. So we're going to try to narrow it down and try to get best fee structure for the community that will cost affect us in the school district, and so that the community and the taxpayers don't have the burden of repairs and things when things are broken. But it's going to be a couple of week process. We have a lot of school districts that we've reached out to, and we're getting, Building and Grounds is doing a good job getting all the data for us to look at. We had like 3 sheets of it at the last meeting just to kind of do comparisons. So that's really all. That'll be on the July meeting. We're trying to get that accomplished. So going forward in the fall, when they fill out their applications for the fall usage, everyone's aware of what the new procedure will be.
Thanks. Great job on that committee. Thank you. Dawn, anything from Orange County School
No,
Boards?
Our meetings have coincided, so I have not been able to attend.
Yeah, and it looks like some of them will next year. Also, Don, facilities?
Yeah, I think Patrick has an update on that, but it's going extremely well. We've managed to dodge some raindrops, I guess, in the initial stages.
Yeah, so the project is underway, right, for the last few weeks. The only development has been the discovery of clay, more clay than we thought in the soil, and we're sort of dealing with that right now. It looks as though there was an expensive way to deal with it and a less expensive way to deal with it. And it looks as though our engineers and architects have said the less expensive change order will be sufficient, but we're going to continue to analyze that. But otherwise, it's full steam ahead. And the DOT project, they've been working on the access road between the back of CV and the high school. So that's good news as well. We can get that online hopefully very soon.
Okay.
Do we know when the crane is being delivered to the high school?
I don't. I think it would be second week of July, perhaps. Peter, do you?
We're talking about 27th, 28th.
Of June, okay.
Okay, so that's right after graduation.
That makes sense.
I just wanted to know if it was going to be there before or after.
That's what they're hoping for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick and his team did a great job with this change order, because I think the vendor recommended a solution, and I think coordinating with all the engineering staff, with Peter and everybody else, I think the outcome has significantly better. It's very impressive.
Anything else? That's it for committees. Christian, do you have anything?
Really just,
tonight, a tap dance routine, a going away thing?
Just like to reiterate myself from last week. It's been a pleasure serving the board, and this week, not this week, sorry, this year has certainly flew by. Definitely been the fastest year in terms of like the most fun I've had, and all the activities and clubs, committees, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's really it. I think Maeve, she will take over very well.
Why don't we have Maeve stand up?
We have Maeve stand up, Maeve Harrington, who's our
Maeve
new.
Harrington is our new VP.
Stop you.
We're not applauding for you, Anthony. We're applauding for somebody more important. I'm used to that when I walk into a
Good,
huh? People applaud when I leave.
It was.
So, sorry, I'm just kidding. So we want to welcome Maeve. Maeve, we're excited that you're going to be joining us. We're sad to see Chris go, but it's going to be exciting. I think the role of the BOE student representative has really morphed throughout the year, throughout the years, because you're our third, you'll be our fourth. So we'll chat. And welcome.
Yes. All right. Personnel.
I'm going to be respectfully requesting approval for the items listed under personnel, but before I do that, we do have one person who's here. If I could just have her stand up. This is Jessica Mortensen. She's going to be one of our new biology teachers at the high school, and as you can imagine, bio, like many of our sciences, is a hard-to-fill gig, and we are very happy that she is. At this point, we choose them, but they also choose us, so congratulations and
welcome.
And that's all I have. So.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments on all of the personnel items in your agenda? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Business and financial. Patrick.
John, I also request the approval of the items under business financials. We have our standard monthly financial reports for April. We have one donation to North Main Elementary School for $20 from Your Cause, LLC, trustee for life. We have two contracts, one with the Village of Monroe for the lease of a school bus, and an agreement with the town of Woodbury for the use of the reservoir for the Central Valley Elementary fifth grade picnic. We have three resolutions, funding of the tax certiorari reserve for the end of the year. There's a not to exceed amount of $1.5 million. There's an energy purchase resolution. This is the authority that you basically designate to me to enter into a contract. We use a vendor. We're part of a consortium called EPEX for that. So there's a not-to-exceed value on that for the price of gas and electricity. We also have a resolution, which I think is kind of more significant, for the establishment of a TRS reserve. So this was a new part of the state law, state budget this past year, and it's actually a sub-fund of the ERS reserve. So I think that's a great thing that we're finally able to do that and have that. We are surplusing 2 small buses. We have, I think, about 4 or 5 bids for approval for ultra-low sulfur diesel and music supplies and equipment and repairs. And finally, 2 budget transfers for your approval for cabling project here at the Ed Center and Microcomputer Center and Bus Garage, and a budget transfer for the high school gym floor improvements to fund that.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Business and financial, so carried. Do I have a motion to approve the establishment of the 2019-2020 Board of Education regular meetings?
Motion.
Second.
Not coming that way.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to approve the arrangement of the recommended placements made by the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Special Education?
Second.
Items 22-1, 22-2, 22-3, 22-4 is moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports by Board and Central Office.
I just want to apologize for not being at last meeting. I missed all the honorees and hoopla, so I want to give everybody congratulations that were honored. I want to congratulate the FBLA on their awards. It was impressive. The secretary there spoke there for a couple of minutes, never looked at a paper. He had everything written down. He didn't stumble. So that's really impressive. I like the field updates on the Facebook, the little video that they posted. It was real nice. I mean, if we get 1 or 2 of those every couple of weeks, it would be nice to see how the field is progressing and the community could actually see exactly what is going on out there. So that was nice. And have a good night. Okay, Dawn, there you go.
No.
So I'm actually not going to talk about all the opportunities that I've had to go to the schools and do different celebrations and share accolades. I want to talk a little bit about something that's been resonating with me lately. And I'm not really sure what happened first, but I do want to say that I was at the top 25, and the high school administration did something this year where they sent out a survey to the students, and they asked the students, one question was, what teacher had an impact on your life? And then that teacher was able to then partake in the giving out of the recognition. And kind of along the same time, I don't know if it was a couple of days before, and I just share this personal part of it for context, but my son is part of a 2-year class, so he's a sophomore, and he's taking the AP exam in world history this year. And he was so nervous, he had no idea what to expect, and he's been in this class, like I said, since last year. So the night before the exam, when they're all stressing and studying, he gets this email, and I do want to read it. From his teacher. Dear class, I just wanted to say to all of you how much of a pleasure it has been teaching you these past 2 years. I've come to know you all for the incredibly intelligent, hardworking, kind, funny, and insightful young people that you are becoming, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I've looked forward to class with you guys every single day. I've watched you all grow as students and as people, and you need to know that you have the ability to succeed on this test tomorrow. I wanted to message you all tonight to give you my best. Know that I believe in all of you, and if you have put in the time and the effort on your own and in the last few days and weeks, whatever, to prep, then you will succeed. You can do this. Believe in yourselves and know that you all have the skills and the intelligence to have success on this test tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep, eat a good breakfast tomorrow, and go and crush this stupid test. So, it was just like, wow. I mean, the teacher took the time out, and I'm going to say who the teacher was. It was Mr. Clearwater. What he gave those students that night was just something that... really, I think so many teachers do, but sometimes it doesn't get recognized. And they really do have a huge impact on our students. And I think that just proved how much, especially to my son, that his teacher took a vested interest in him and he was going to go crush this test. So that's what I wanted to say about the recognition for the teachers and the impact that they do have on all of our students. And thank you to FBLA and Expand and all the teachers for everything that you do for our kids. That's it.
Thank you. Don?
I've already talked about the facilities, but I wanted to thank the STEAM presentation. That was really, really good. I think that's so important to the school. I think that'll make a huge difference for us. That's it for me.
Suzanne?
I'd also like to thank the presenters of the STEAM program, and I'd like to wish everyone a very nice summer. I'm really looking forward to the moving up ceremonies and graduation, and that's it.
Thank you. Chris?
I'd just like to congratulate not only every student in Monroe, but especially the class of 2019 on graduating. It's been a great year, as I said, and thanks to all the presenters, and have a great summer.
Donna?
I just wanted to say congratulations to Christian and all the graduates. Best wishes for the future, and congratulations and best wishes to Karen Brock on her farewell. And also wish everyone a safe and happy summer.
Thank you. Bhargav?
Good luck, Christian. Welcome, Dave. Looking forward to work with you. It was a great presentation, Deb, and your team of FBLA was great. I attended science symposium, research symposium, and students were phenomenal. They presented in such a really educated way that some of the professionals can even not do it. So it was really, really I was happy to see that how along they came across, and then how prepared they are for when they're ready to go to their colleges. I attended the Expand celebration, and that was nicely done.
Thank you. Eric?
So, same as everybody else, congratulations to everybody who was recognized at the Board of Education meeting last week, particularly Bhargav. Congratulations again on your tenure. Thank you to our presenters. Congratulations to FBLA. G&T, you guys are great. Thank you so much. One quick note, thanks to the board for approving these textbooks. In addition to the presentation on STEAM and the initiatives that are happening through the Gifted and Talented program, the 3 textbooks that you approved tonight were all 4 college-level courses that are going to be offered in our high school next year, the required texts. Marine biology, human biology, and forensics. So if you talk about the STEAM initiative that we're doing and starting with some of our younger kids, one of the students was asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was talking about the Mariana Trench and everything else. He in our high school is going to be able to take a marine biology class offered for college credit when he gets to our high school. So I think that there's a lot of phenomenal things that are happening in our school district. So thank you for your presentation. Congratulations to the class of 2019. Graduation's in 2 weeks. It's the best event of the year. Congratulations to Christian. It's been awesome watching you rise to such an amazing level, and I think you are going off to college with a fantastic trajectory of what you've done here, and I think college is just going to continue that. So best of luck and congrats.
Patrick?
I just want to also thank the presenters. I know it's been said, but it was very, very good job, very enlightening, and also just wish Christian well, and thank you for being on the board. You've done a nice job.
Matt?
Yeah, same thing. We always loved hearing the kids. The FBLA kids were great. It was so nice to see the teachers also present something that they're so proud of and that they've worked so hard to create. So thank you for that. Maeve, big shoes to fill. No pressure. You'll be great. I've known Christian since he got off the bus as a second grader at North Main, and to know who you were then and who you've become now is not much. It's not really different, other than you're a little bigger. But you were. You were. He was one of those kids, even at a young age, that you knew possessed goodness and was willing to go out and make a difference to help others. And to me, you've done that for all of us here. You've done it for your classmates, and I agree with Dr. Hassler 100%. You will take those skills and those talents to the next level, and you'll make everyone there better too. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, we're going to applaud.
I want to congratulate Christian, and I'm going to give a big shout out this year to the class of 2019. I'm going to really try not to cry because my son will kill me if I do. But yes, this is a great year because I do have a graduate this year, and I'm going to reiterate what a lot of people said and thank the Expand teachers who have my youngest in their clutches, who literally loves everything about the Expand and STEAM program, and since second grade with Mr. Peterson or third grade with Mr. Peterson is dreaming of being a female scientist. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that, several years from now we'll have that. But I just want to say that, similar to the message that Dawn said, aside from our kids doing phenomenal things, we have some great teachers and staff behind that. And I became a board member 3 years ago because I have 4 children in this school district, and as I sit here and my son is graduating, I can say that he will do great things, and he has a great background behind him because of the staff that we have at Monroe Woodbury, and that makes me really proud. So I just want to say thank you. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you to everyone, and congrats to all the graduates.
Right. No crying unless Elsie cries.
That's the last thing.
She's the crying leader.
It's just sweat. It's not, they're not tears.
Anthony.
I'm so upset. I don't know. I'm Maeve, welcome. I'm so sorry if I stepped on your applause. So, congratulations to everyone for a great year. Congratulations to the class of 2019. This truly is a remarkable district. I echo everything that Stacy and Dawn said, and I apologize for being late tonight, and have a good evening.
Ed.
I'm looking forward to graduation, Mr. Cassie. Make it fun, make it exciting. It's the best time of the year. No rain. And no rain. I want to welcome all the new people to the district, and I want to wish those leaving us the best of luck, whether they're retiring, moving on, wherever they shall go. And most of all, to all the staff, have a great summer. After a long year, you earned it.
Elsie.
I'm not going to cry. I want to thank the presenters, gifted and talented in our FBLA. You guys did an amazing job. Made us very proud of the work that you do. I want to wish Karen Brock well as she moves on to Florida, and welcome Caitlin Caldwell to her new position come this summer. I want to congratulate Christian Hess on receiving Assemblyman Colin Schmidt's 99th Assembly Students of Achievement Award. Received that award this week, and I was very lucky to be there in the audience. I want to echo a comment that was made by Assemblyman Colin Schmidt. He said, there's so much negativity in the world, we lose sight of all the good things that are happening around us. And there's a lot of good things happening in our school community. It's been a great year, not a perfect year. We passed a bond that allowed us to begin the installation of a turf field that will support thousands of students. We held our first MW Cares Day that has impacted not just our school community, but throughout the country. We won the Girls and Boys New York State Soccer Championship. North Main won their new playground. We had 3 seniors named as the National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. One of those 3 was a finalist National Merit Scholarship winner. We had an MW mega reunion. More than 1,000 alumni returned home and raised more than $10,000 for scholarship fund, which would be the MW Inspire Success that will benefit our graduating seniors beginning in 2020. North Main and Pine Tree created projects related to 125th anniversary of the Village of Monroe, and the winners served as the mayor and village trustees. All of these things we accomplished happened because we partnered together with students, parents, staff, and community members, all working together for one cause, trying to make the school experience of our students better so that they can go out and make the world a better place for the future.
You're crying.
No, I'm not.
I heard it.
I heard
There was just a crack in my voice.
If you want to go that route.
There is a lot of good happening in our district, and everyone has played an important role in making this happen. I want to take a moment to thank everybody for a great year and congratulate our 2019 graduates.
It's that one.
It's like half your graduation speech right there. Good job.
There you go.
There you go.
I have nothing more to add to what everyone else has said, except do I have a motion to adjourn the public portion of the meeting and convene into executive session for purposes of discussing the following: contract negotiations with the MWTA, discipline of a certain employee, results of a matter concerning one student, and the superintendent's evaluation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.